Okay, let's all introduce ourselves. We'll start at this end, so state your name and stand behind.
Translation, we need an alibi, so.
I guess we're ready to start. Is everybody ready? Okay.
I think we're ready.
My name's Michael Davy. I own the Davy Theatrical Makeup Supplies. I've been doing this for many, many years. J.D. Ellis of Mortem Effects.
Hey guys.
He's my left and right hand man for this job. Today we're going to demonstrate a revulsion watermelon appliance. We're going to apply this to the back of our subject's head. What's your name?
My name's Matt from Bill Brothers, Akron, Ohio.
Akron, Ohio, home of the Zips.
Hold still for me if you would.
From Canton. Now we're going to apply this revulsion. We've changed the appliance a little bit. We've torn up the inside and we're going to show a little bit of skull here. To do that, we're going to use a Duracolor palette. It's an alcohol activated color. You just spray some alcohol in there and dab your brush into it. We're also going to use some of our airbrush foundation applied with a sponge. We don't need to use an airbrush all the time. We're just going to dab it on with the sponge here and it works just as good for what we're doing. There's no detail involved in this. The appliance is made using Water-Melon. Water-Melon is a latex alternative. Anything you can do with latex, you can do with Water-Melon. You can slush it, pour it, gel it, foam it. The nice thing is, whatever you make with it, in this case, an appliance, can be applied with alcohol. We don't use glues anymore. The alcohol we use is called Water-Melon Activator. It's not isopropyl like rubbing alcohol. You can use 99% isopropyl to activate the appliance, but I prefer to use ethyl alcohol as the isopropyl is a little more sensitizing to the skin. Ethyl alcohol is more of a cosmetic grade of alcohol.
Less fumes.
What is it?
Once we have the appliance made and applied and everything's secure, we're going to add some blood using hemoglobin. Hemoglobin is a liquid blood that dries with a wet look to it. It's very durable, it's a very shiny blood. It's great for simulating a wet surface with blood. If you have any questions, just shout them out loudly, because when we're starting the makeup, I'm probably not going to hear or see you waving your hand or anything, so just yell it out and let me know. I'll try and describe what we're doing as we go. Sometimes we get involved here, so if there's long, awkward moments of silence, you know that we're working, so bear with us there. Are we ready?
We're ready.
Let's go ahead and start with the alcohol.
Yeah.
Good, close your eyes. Ready to do that. You get the alcohol going.
Yeah, we'll have to get a back-to-back picture.
Yeah, go ahead.
You're good, you're good. There we go.
Go. Now we're going to press and hold this for a count of 20 seconds. This time to let the alcohol do its thing. The harder you press and hold it, the more secure it's going to be. Is everyone counting? It's all right. I'm not either. We're just going to approximate this. Is it about 20 seconds yet?
About 20 seconds.
Is it?
We're good.
Okay. There we go. Now, Water-Melon is forgiving. If we don't have the exact spot, we can peel things up and reposition them. Now we're going to start gluing down, well, Bloom's a misnomer. We're going to alcohol the edges down.
Yes.
And what we do is we'll lift up the edge, run the alcohol under the appliance with our space age applicators, and then just lay it down. We'll hold the area for 20 seconds and then move on.
Get to our edge, we're just going to take that out, the Q-tip, and we're rolling it out. As we roll it out, you're going to see that edge just disappear. As it disappears, it's actually going to show the skin tone underneath of his head. The cool part about this is you're not sitting there trying to color match the appliance to the skin because it takes on the color of the skin.
Yeah, there's no latex. There's no foundation needed. It takes on your own skin color. Since there's no adhesive, there's no remover needed. So in one product, we've gotten rid of the latex, the adhesive, the foundation, and the removers. I know it's hard to see from the audience here, so if you have trouble seeing or you can't see from where you're at, please feel free to step up towards the stage and to get a closer look.
At any point you get to an area that doesn't want to stick because of the alcohol that's activated on it, give it a minute, let it dry a little bit, start working to the next area, come back to it, reactivate it, it'll go straight down. What you want to make sure is that you don't oversaturate it, because if you oversaturate it, it may become really sticky and really pliable and you may actually lose a piece of it. So what you're going to do is you're just going to let this area that I have here sit for a minute, I'll start working up here, then I'll come back here and you'll see this disappear straight down. This is a really large piece. If we were doing a small piece, like a little cut, little wound, you're looking at application time of maybe a minute to 2 minutes at a time. So you're going really fast. Something like this is a nice showpiece, so it's going to take a little bit longer, but if you have this character out in the front of the arm jumping around, they see the back of his head, they're going to freak out.
Anything we don't want on here just blends away. outside pretty much glued down. Gluing's kind of a misnomer. It's kind of alcohol down. I'm going to go on the inside here. Let's check and make sure we've got everything glued down on the inside.
Yes, sir. Earlier, Mike was saying this stuff is very forgiving. If you've ever had prostate on a piece of latex and put it down by accident, you know once it's down, and you're gonna have to try to get up underneath that edge and chisel it back out. With Water-Melon, we can actually take the activator, the alcohol, and go back to an edge, and if we're not happy with it, we can get right up underneath that edge. And what it'll do is it'll put a little bit more alcohol underneath the edge, and then we're just blending out. If it had like a little air bubble or a little piece of impurity or imperfection, it'll just roll it right out.
It looks like we're pretty well attached here. These last little spots.
Wonder what's on his mind, Mike.
Give me a moment, I'll see.
Mike and I worked on a movie called Bubba the Redneck Werewolf, and all of the appliances that we used on that were made out of watermelon. So the really cool part, you'll see a pentagram on the hand, that was made out of watermelon.
We've got this pretty much attached. Now we're ready to start adding some colors. I'm going to add them some bone color. On my back.
So as Mike was saying, the appliance itself, the Revulsion, has a nice solid piece all the way around it. Yes, sir. Hey everyone, come up into the mine.
Now this is the AGPC that we're applying here as the skull color. It's an airbrush foundation. It's meant to be applied with an airbrush, but we're using a sponge and applying it in layers. Crossing. I'm going to help speed things along here. It has alcohol in it, so it dries very quickly.
Well, what we've done is we've actually removed the piece of the appliance here. So I actually earlier went in and tore out that piece because I wanted to show the bone underneath. But normally it's one full piece of appliance. This would actually go all the way across and be completed, and you wouldn't even see underneath. But if you were to tear this out and do a layer of Water-Melon over it, it would be translucent. You'd be able to see through it. This works really well on all skin tones. It also works on tattoos. So if you get a chance afterwards, my lovely wife right behind me has a Han Solo tattoo.
That's
and you'll
me.
see that she's got the slice across her arm, and that slice across her arm is translucent. Makes it look like Han got sliced first.
Thank you.
I've added a little
cut
bit
the
of
ones you
color
love.
of the Duracolor. Just add a little variety to the color. Let's see how we're doing. Yeah, it feels dry. Feels secure. Should be good. Get some alcohol.
That's how you test it. You just poke it.
Yeah. You're gonna get moved around, full prodded.
Oh yeah, all the things.
Okay. Now we're going to add the
Sorry about that, guys. I was showcasing my arm. Didn't mean to show you the carpet there for a few minutes.
Matt's partial to this shirt, so we're going to do Matt a solid. We're going to put a little paper towel around the backside. That's why I ask ahead of time.
Now what I'm going to do is start adding the blood
The fun part.
around the edge of the wound area. That'll be the little rim that goes around the edge.
It's always important to rim your blood.
One thing I'd like to do I'll take a little bit of Silicolor and I'll seal the bone surface. Silicolor is an acrylic medium that we use as a fixer. And what it'll do is it'll seal the airbrush foundation and give it a little bit of shine so that we don't end up lifting color when we add the blood. Let me blow dry this.
Yes, sir.
There we go.
That should be good. Yep. Awesome. On with the blood. So the blood we're using is Mike's hemoglobin blood. This blood will dry with no tack to it, but it's going to stay shiny. Removal on it, you can use alcohol, you can use soap and water, or isopropyl myristate will take the blood off. The blood will stay where you put it though. I put some blood on my arm. 3 days later, it was still there. Granted, I washed it lightly, but just wanted to see if just light brushing across it with soap and water would take it off. It was still sitting there. Took a little Dawn detergent, it came right off. So if you have actors that sweat and you worry about putting blood above their eyes and it's sweating down into their eyes, this is going to stay where you put it. When Matt gets done, you'll see when we turn around, we actually stapled his head earlier, and all the areas where the staples are, we put the same blood, none of it's running.
One of the things I like to do with this is add the blood, and then before it dries, we'll hit it with a little alcohol, and that'll let it run.
don't think old Matt's gonna make it. Flip the chest resuscitation. Now the nice thing with this blood is after you apply it, you can take a little bit of the activator and go back in. If you want to move it around a little bit, the activator will actually thin the blood to give a little bit more realism. You'll see the blood actually go into all the crevices and folds. It's a little more natural of a look.
And what's nice is that once we put it on there and it dries, it stays put. And we can add layer upon layer to make it either more shiny or more opaque or whatever we want to see.
And you can also layer the blood. So after you put some blood down, if you want to run a little bit more, right over the top of it. And as Mike said, you can then take the activator, hit it with a little bit of activator, and get a very realistic blood run. Yeah. So we're sitting at about, we're sitting at roughly 350 now. So you think about the start time on this and how large this appliance was and how fast we put it on. The great part about this is at the end of the day when Matt's done with this, he's going to be able just to grab an edge of this and it's going to come right off. He's not going to need a remover. So we eliminate the glue, we eliminate the need to have a paint to actually try to match it to his skin, and we eliminate the remover, all with one product.
It slices, it slices.
And that's a jack chop. Is it reusable?
Well, ideally, no. Ideally, once we blended the edges in, those edges are melted away. If you know you're going to want to reuse it at some point, who asked that question? Who am I talking to? Okay. If you know you're going to want to reuse it before you take it off, take some of the liquid watermelon that I showed you. Stipple over the appliance with the watermelon and let it dry. Then when you peel this up, you have a new edge that you've made for the next time. What you might want to do if you're going to reapply it is to clean the back of it with some 70% isopropyl alcohol. 70% is about 30% water. So it's not strong enough to activate the appliance. So you can clean the back of the appliance, get the oils and the grease or whatever off of the back so that the next time you apply it, it'll bond again. Now I've got a layer of blood on there, but it's kind of like boom, it's everywhere. So now I'm going to go back in with some alcohol to reactivate the blood and to put it the way I want it to be. I want some areas to be a little bit more opaque and some areas to be a little less opaque, some areas to be able to see through. We want to make it look organic. We don't want the blood to look contrived, like it was placed there. We want it to look like, hey, it just came out of the womb naturally. Now, along with that is that we're not really, when I say naturally, I want it to look organic. It doesn't have to look like it actually would if something happened. We can add a little drama to this. We can add a little bit of creativity to this to make it look sore or to make it look worse than it is. Because it's theater, folks. So it has to look natural, it has to look organic, but it doesn't have to look accurate.
The great part about these appliances are, regardless of what kind of lighting you're using, you're going to see this. One of the things I do when I'm dressing the blood
is I kind of stay away from hard edges unless it's like an actual run or something like that. I like to keep the edges soft.
Question, Mike, is how does this work with people with body hair?
When someone has body hair, it's not like you're using adhesive. Who asked the question again? If it's somebody with body hair, it's not like when you're using adhesive. When we apply the appliance, we start with alcohol. We put the alcohol on first. I'll put the alcohol on in the direction that the hair is laying, so that the hair is laying down with the alcohol. And then when I put the appliance on it, the alcohol has the hair laying down so the appliance doesn't trap the hair into the plastic. It lays it down. It lays on top of it. So it's not really grabbing the hair.
Just gonna paint a happy little blood tree over here. So if Matt had a rubber hanger, he could do the old chop top and sit there and just scratch at its head. Yeah, we're not going to repeat that in the microphone, but that is the line now.
Okay, one last thing. If we want some more shine on that, we can use the Silicolor. The Silicolor will add a little bit of shine to it. Now, if you have an airbrush, a lot of this you can airbrush. But there's a lot to be said for the hand application approach.
All the small bottles really help if you have to go and do touch-ups while they're actually inside. They can't always come back to the makeup room, so you put a small kit together. You've got instant touch-ups. You can just run in anything that looks like it's moved, or if you want to punch it up a little bit, punch it up on them, move on to your next person, and just rock all the way around.
Now we have this, I kind of like this little piece of skin that we have right here. So to draw attention to it, I'm going to take some of the blood off of that. That'll draw the eye to that and break up the pattern around the How are we doing on time here?
We're at 3:57.
Well, I know folks have other things to get to, so we don't want to take too much of your time up. Any last minute questions?
Yes, sir. The darker material on the appliance, are you talking about where it had the wound? Mike, he's asking about the inside of the wound. How did you make the inside of the wound for the watermelon? Did you paint it, or is that pigment in the watermelon?
Well, in the mold, there's detail in the mold. And what I do is I tint the watermelon that I'm using the maroon color, a red color, and then I'll paint that tinted watermelon into the mold where the wound is going to be, and I'll let that dry, and then I'll pour the watermelon over top of that and let the whole thing sit, and then peel it all out in one piece. That just gives me a different colored area for the watermelon.
So we do have tints available for the watermelon. It comes in the clear, but you can tint it to whatever color you like.
Any last
Any
questions?
other questions?
Can
Yes,
that
sir.
be applied over the top of a bald cap?
Sorry, what was that?
Can it be placed over the top of a bald cap?
Can it be placed over the top of the bald cap?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I'm the world's largest manufacturer of plastic and latex bald caps. So, for a while, I was actually making bald caps with the appliance on them already, so all you had to do was put the cap on. But there was no market for that. Nobody wanted it, or not enough people wanted it. So maybe I'll go back to making some of those, but y'all gotta want it.
Once you use one of the Water-Melon bald caps, you won't go back to latex. The fact that you're not sitting there trying to chase that edge and trying to make sure everything runs perfect, because like you said, it's a little more forgiving, so you get a really nice edge all the way around, and it just disappears.
Here, can I have your camera?
Your what? Yep. Back up top, guys.
Good idea.
Here you go, sir.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
You gotta go like this.
And that's the demo, guys.
And before anybody leaves, Matt, if you could stand up really quick for us.
Oh, yes, the front side. Forgot to show you guys.
Not too
And
quick.
I'm going to have you,
We want you to fall over.
yeah, don't fall over. Walk up just a little bit right here. Mike, if you can come over here
Yeah.
and face this way.
Excuse me, I got a phone call.
Wait, we're going to take a picture of the crowd. And 1, 2, one more. We're going to take one out this wonderful setting so it actually is clear. Hey, there's the crowd. And perfect. Thank you, guys. And that is Water-Melon.
Woo!
My booth is right there. If you